Alright, hello boys and girls, those who bounce in between. It's your friend Comrade Tankie, and welcome to another impromptu live stream. I am doing this to try to get some practice at streaming through OBS before I stream with Comrade Paul tomorrow, because I don't want to make a fool out of myself and I want to practice. And for those of you who were on my practice stream yesterday, thank you very much for your assistance and your patience. I'm going to try to get the chat working here, but as of right now I'm having trouble seeing it, so hopefully I will get that fixed. So you got to bear with me here, folks. I have not done very many live streams, and what little live streams I have done has been on StreamYard. So besides my little 5-minute practice stream yesterday, this is going to be the first live stream that I've actually done. So just bear with me here. I'm going to try to get the chat to properly display here. Let me just... I can see the chat. I'm going to leave something here. Test comment, just to see if that works here. There we go. Got the pop-out chat going. Just bear with me here, folks. This is live. This is raw. This is real. It's not always pretty. See if I can... see if I can get the chat box going here, working right. I did have a topic for this video. I did have a topic, and I want to discuss it because I think it'll be entertaining. I may not be able to get the chat box working here for some reason, but I'm going to try. I'm going to give it the old Danky Kang try. But anyway, welcome to the stream. It's not very good, but, you know, it is what it is. Trying my best. So, the topic of this video that I wanted to discuss is my upcoming video that's going to drop Sunday. It's going to be about patriotic socialism. It's probably going to piss quite a few people off, if I'm being honest. These won't be people that I am necessarily worried about pissing off, however, so I think it's going to go off without a hitch. Let's see. I don't know why chat's not working. I can see your comments, but I can't get it to display. So that's a hiccup that I'm gonna try to resolve. But let's just move right along. So Sunday I'm gonna be dropping my video denouncing patriotic socialism and exposing it for the sham tendency that it is, for the crypto-fascist reactionary bullshit that it is, and it is going to trigger and inflame quite a bit of people. And I make no apologies for that. You know, I feel like this is a tendency that deserves to be called out, and I don't expect them to take it very well at all. I try to be fair in my criticisms. I try to always be principled and constructive in my criticisms, but you know, the individuals that I denounce in this video, in this upcoming video, they are not very responsive to constructive criticism. So chat's not working right now. I'm gonna remove the chat box, but I can still see and monitor your chats, just for the sake of clearing up some screen space here. So welcome to all of my viewers: Falcone General, Beardington, Jess L, Shannon Shenovich, Ubik, Chris Gaming, El Trestero, Democram, and we got Marxism Today here. Thank you all for watching. I just caught your stream, Marxism Today, with Notorious Casamang, and it was awesome. Highly recommend everybody go subscribe to Marxism Today. Go subscribe to Notorious Casamang. And anyway, let's get into the topic of this video. So because the patriotic socialists are such basic bitches, I have been able to anticipate their response to what my video is going to be. And in order to play a little game, I have cooked up a bingo card that I'm going to show everybody now, because I feel like their responses are so predictable that, kind of like a chess master, a chess grandmaster if you will, I am able to predict their responses well in advance. So I'm going to be going, you know, down the list here, and we'll have to pay some attention to this. You know, we'll have to play the game together and see how they respond. So in my video, I specifically go after Caleb Maupin and CPI. I go after Haas from Infrared. I go after Jackson Henkel with a little bit of side swipes at Yankee Tankie. You know, and if you don't know who any of those folks are, thank goodness. You are the lucky ones. Y'all are the lucky ones. You guys who don't know who these guys are. And it's best to just keep it that way. So, you know, for those of you who are unfamiliar with patriotic socialism, especially within the American context, you guys are lucky. I'm very jealous of you. I wish I didn't know. I wish I could do the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind treatment and have all memory of these individuals wiped. But unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, they're here. They're out there. They're representing Marxism, quote-unquote Marxism, in a horrible way. So let's hope that this sickening ideology doesn't spread any further than it already has. But enough preamble. Let's start going through the list. So after they watch my video, I expect that they are going to call me Fed or CIA. Also, I added George Soros as a category here because they love to call people Feds, they love to call people CIA, and they love to call people an agent of George Soros. Um, and so I am very much anticipating that response. It doesn't matter if they can substantiate that criticism. It doesn't matter if they can actually back up that response. They can't, by the way. They can't with any of these. But I highly anticipate their initial knee-jerk reaction is going to be to call me a Fed or CIA. That just seems par for the course and pretty much explains itself. So let's move on to the next one here. Cuck/beta. You know, and I have no idea what the Chud's obsession with cuckoldry is. For those of you who don't know, I don't want to contaminate the live stream by explaining this particular sexual fetish. This is a Christian live stream. This is safe for work, as about as safe as it gets for my channel. And so I don't want to get into all that. But just long story short, they are obsessed with calling people a cuck, calling people beta. You know, the whole alpha beta thing, it just reeks of incel sort of philosophy, if you can even call inceldom a philosophy. Whether you call yourself an alpha male, beta male, gamma, delta, epsilon male, if you're cringy, you can call yourself a sigma male. I've seen people do that. I take no stock in it. You know, I seriously take no stock in it. So if people are going to call me a beta, you know, I really don't care. Go ahead, call me a beta. I'm a beta male. You know, it doesn't matter. It does not matter to me. And same thing with the next insult, calling me a soy boy. You know, this is supposed to be some like giant diss. This is supposed to, you know, and this is the thing is, I remember Haas actually responded to one of my tweets and he called me a soy boy. And I just kind of rolled my eyes because it's like this, once again, none of these are sufficient arguments. None of these are counter arguments. But the fact that he, you know, calls me a soy boy shows me that he places stock in this like myth that if you're a man and you consume tofu or soy products, you are somehow less manly. And of course, in my video, y'all are gonna see I go into Haas and his like toxic machismo and his posturing and his insecurity about that. And so this just sort of further highlights it. The use of these insults just sort of further proves my point. And so, you know, by all means, Patsocs, just go ahead and keep validating me. Keep proving that I'm right. I anticipate they're going to use all of these insults. If they see my video at all. Maybe it'll get buried. Maybe they won't see my video. Maybe folks will send it over to them, but honestly, considering the fact that Haas pretty much lives on the internet, I fully anticipate that he will see my video, or at least a clip of my video, and he will probably rage. He will probably seethe, and I relish that. I really, really do. Let's see. Next insult. I'm a Breadtube liberal, and I also put baizuo in there as well. This is a famed response by Caleb Maupin. This is one of Maupin's like go-to knee-jerk responses. Like if Caleb Maupin was tripping on acid or just extremely drunk and just could not form a coherent thought, I'm pretty sure he would still call somebody a Breadtube liberal, because that is just what his brain defaults to. And you know, of course, early on in the very beginning of my YouTube channel, I posted to Breadtube And let me just make this clear right now. A lot of Marxists did post to Breadtube because it was a big community and it was a large subreddit. But Breadtube does not like me, and I don't really like them all that much either. The Breadtube mods, I'm pretty sure shadow banned me. Like I honestly give a shit. I really don't care. Breadtube is overwhelmingly dominated by radical liberals, overwhelmingly dominated by those sort of radlib anarchists, and they don't like me purely because I promote a Marxist viewpoint, a viewpoint that they regard as totalitarian, as authoritarian, and it doesn't matter how much I try to reason with them or bargain with them. Breadtube just doesn't like me. But that is not to deny that early in my day, I tried to affiliate myself with them. I tried to rectify the errors that I saw in the Breadtube community and inject Marxism into it. But unfortunately, it's like shoveling snow in a liberal blizzard. You just can't do it. And I also put baizuo in this category because baizuo seems to be like this knee-jerk reaction that a lot of people, especially people who shill for modern China, tend to go for. Baizuo, as I covered in my very first Essentials of Maoism episode, is essentially an insult, a Chinese insult meant to mean a white or a Western leftist. And the general use of this insult is to say, how dare you criticize China? Your country has not even had a successful socialist revolution, so you just need to stay in your backyard and criticize your own country and criticize your own movement. And don't you dare ever criticize China, even if it's from a constructive or principled Marxist point of view. So they'll say things like, STFU, baizuo. And like I say in my first Essentials of Maoism video, this essentially becomes a weaponized term to silence principled opposition. You could I drew the comparison that the Second International, the opportunists and revisionists within the Second International, could just as easily have called Lenin and the Bolsheviks their equivalent of baizuo. They could point to Lenin and say, you come from the Russian Empire. This is a semi-feudal, underdeveloped backwater, and your country is not even likely to initiate a socialist revolution. So how dare you criticize the movement in Germany or the movement in Western Europe, because here capitalism is much more developed, and at the time, the Second International believed that Western Europe was going to be the point where the socialist revolution jump-started. And so you could very easily see how this term baizuo is reflective of the same kind of national chauvinism that dominated the Second International, and how if this was back in the day, you could see Karl Kautsky and other members of the Second International denouncing Lenin and the Bolsheviks using a very similar line of logic. So I anticipate that to be their response. Moving on, making fun of my views or making fun of my subscriber count. And like I said, these folks, especially Haas, they dwell almost permanently on the internet. They don't go outside. I mean, I saw one video of Haas going outside, and it was painful because he encountered someone in real life that he had beef with on the internet, and he defaulted to these extremely childish arguments, which is also a category a little bit further down. But the fact that they place so much stock in views or subscriber count tells me that these individuals care so much more about their internet points, which I hope we could all agree are ethereal and really don't matter in the long run. And they certainly have no bearing on my viewpoints and how I express them. I would make the same exact content if I had 50,000 subscribers or 5 subscribers. It really does not change the content of my output. It does not change the content of what I want to say. And so the fact that these individuals place so much stock in their subscriber count is really sad. It's very, very sad. And, bless their little hearts. Let's see. The next insult that they like to use, this is a Maupin favorite. This is a Maupin vintage. A fine vintage at that. Maupin loves to whip this one out and use it pretty much universally. A Malthusian degrowther. This is, this takes a little bit of time to understand. Malthus, I think his name is Thomas Malthus. You can tell how much I've researched this. Malthus is a guy who, from what I understand, I could be wrong. Maupin, feel free to correct me on this. Malthus believes in overpopulation and thinks that humanity needs to die off. He sort of has the view of Ebenezer Scrooge in The Christmas Carol when he says, they should die off and spare us the surplus population, decrease the surplus population. Talking about, poor people. So a Malthusian is basically someone who wants a mass die-off of humanity because they view our economy as unsustainable, that we're growing at a rate to where our resource output can't possibly match up. So this calls for, of course, a eugenic project to be initiated to curb this future disaster. This is what the Malthusians think. And the degrowther, this is a hallmark of LaRouche. This is a and someone pointed out, it's not just all of humanity, it's specifically poor people. Because rich people, they're producers. Their lives are intrinsically more valuable than the poor. At least this is what, the Malthusians say. So degrowthing, this comes from LaRouche. This is a LaRouchian concept, basically meant to shit on the environmentalist movement, because environmentalists point out, hey, we have allowed industrialization to reach such a point that it is destroying the ecosystem of the planet, and it is leading to widespread climate collapse, and therefore the belief of the LaRouchites is that eco-fascism is being pushed on the population, that we all need to go back to living in tents and mud and daub huts, and we need to eat bugs. And that is what they mean by degrowth. We need to depopulate the cities and go live as hunter-gatherers. And so, of course, this is a straw man. I mean, I have not counted, or I have not found people out there who actually believe this line, except for the occasional anarcho-primitivist. And even then, you have to wonder, like, where do these primitivists come from? How do they even go on the internet if they're primitivists? Like, they're using technology, so it's kind of like antithetical to their whole point of view. But Caleb Maupin is just amazing in his predictability. That is how much of a basic bitch he is. That is how much of a basic bitch Haas and all the infracels are. Is that they whip this term out. You're a Malthusian degrowther. And that is a fan favorite of the Maupinites. So next up, the City of London Imperialist. This is another LaRoucheite sort of conception. So Lyndon LaRouche says that the center of global imperialism comes from the City of London. Doesn't come from Washington, D.C., doesn't come from anywhere else. It comes from London. And so if you do not support American patriotism, if you do not support the if you don't support the United States of America, you're just a City of London imperialist, and you support the British Crown. So, you're hearing it here on my channel that I denounce City of London imperialism. I denounce City of Washington, D.C. imperialism. I denounce City of Paris imperialism. I would even go so far as to commit the cardinal sin and denounce the city of Beijing imperialism and the city of Moscow imperialism. I know that makes me an ultra, that makes me a cuck, but it is what it is. Imperialism is imperialism, regardless of what industrial metropole it manifests from. All imperialism is bad. So, I think that's the principled Marxist point of view, and it's sad how people don't seem to really realize that. And so, next insult, making fun of my body, making fun of other people's body types. This is a hallmark of Haas specifically. He always defaults like this. This is how you're dealing with someone who has a kindergartner mentality. He has the mentality of a 5-year-old. You come at him with this very well-reasoned argument that is full of sound axioms, and he just says, "Oh, well, you're ugly, or you're bald, or you're fat, or you're this, or you're that." And it's just like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what if I am bald? What if I am fat? What if I am ugly? Those aren't necessarily bad things. Like, on this channel, I am tolerant of all body types. It does not matter to me what you look like physically. It does not matter to me what your appearance is. And honestly, Haas is treading into very let's keep it real. Haas is treading into very dangerous territory, criticizing other people's body types when criticisms can be reversed towards him. And I'm not going to go there because I'm not a fucking 5-year-old. But let's just keep it real. If you're going to stoop to that level, if you're going to sling shit, expect to get a little bit of it on yourself as well, my friend. And so he's going to probably make fun of my body, even though he has no idea what I look like, and he never will. Because here's the thing. I don't give a shit about showing myself on camera. You're not going to see my face, right? Because I don't care about fame. I don't care if people know who I am or what I look like or can put a face to a name. And, for people out there who say, "Oh, Tankie King, you need to show your face or you're some kind of a coward." Like, seriously, are you a Fed? Because that's the kind of thing that Feds say. I'm going to pull a bingo card myself and use the Fed accusation at people who make that sort of argument. Next up is calling me a trot or a jungle trot. And the term jungle Trotskyist, this is something that I'm going to talk about in one of my upcoming Essentials of Maoism video. This is a famous insult that is meant as a dig against Maoists. And first of all, let's address the elephant in the room here. The term jungle trot is extremely racist. To call somebody jungle anything implies that they are some kind of a primitive, to imply that they are not civilized. It reeks of Western chauvinism. It reeks of settler chauvinism. It reeks of white privilege. And, oh no, Tankie's using woke words. What a Soyboy. But it's fucking true. If you're going to call somebody a jungle trot, you are basically outing yourself as a racist. And you're also outing yourself as someone who's dumb, because you clearly don't understand what Trotskyism is. Like, if you're going to equate Maoism with Trotskyism, you clearly don't understand what Maoism is and what Trotskyism is. And ironically, calling somebody a jungle trot is much more reflective of the Western chauvinism displayed within the Trotskyist framework. And so honestly, you calling a Maoist a jungle trot makes you sound a lot more like a Trotskyist than you realize. So, if anybody uses this term jungle Trotskyist, they just pretty much out themselves as an idiot. Moving on to the next insult. You're riding on my coattails, and you're seeking my fame. You're seeking fame. You're trying to capitalize on my fame and on my legacy. And this is a very arrogant line of argument. I've encountered this from several people. I've encountered this from Maupin. I've encountered this from Vosh, and I have encountered this from David Pakman. This is an argument that almost always signifies oneself as a douchebag. because if you have a big viewer count, if you have a large subscriber base, and you think that because I don't, that somehow I'm trying to chase your clout, I'm trying to swim in your wake, and I am using your good name to try to chase fame and seek recognition, that is an extremely arrogant point of view. And it just goes to show, once again, that these people, these Patsocs, they prioritize their imaginary internet points much more than they prioritize any substantiative criticism. So, once again, this is a non-argument. Now, speaking of non-arguments, let's move on to the next one. You're an ultra. This is also just another knee-jerk reaction that you see from a lot of people. They'll say, "Oh, Tankie, you're an ultra. You're canceled. You're an ultra." And this, of course, ignores the obvious fact that in my series, in Essentials of Maoism, especially in an upcoming episode, I will talk about ultra-leftism. I will talk about the dangers of ultra-leftism. I believe it's in the episode where I discuss mass lying, and that's going to be like episode 12 or 11 or something like that. And so I talk about the dangers of ultra-leftism, and a lot of Maoists talk about the dangers of ultra-leftism. And so to somehow characterize all Maoists, or simply all anti-revisionists in general, as ultra is a misnomer, and it's a non-argument. Kind of like the term baizuo, it's just used to shut you down. It's used to put you in a little box so that people will disregard what you say outright rather than actually listen to the substance of your argument. And so, like all of these insults, I would ask them, I demand them to qualify that insult. If I'm an ultra, find something that I've done that's ultra leftist and call me out on that. And if you can't do that, if you have nothing, then shut the fuck up. Because simply calling somebody an ultra or a liberal or a fed is not an argument. You have to actually back it up with something substantive. Otherwise, it's just a bludgeon to shut you down. And so this kind of feeds into the next one. You're a LARPer. Calling somebody a LARPer or an adventurist if you're an old person. If you're a young person, you know what LARPing is. It's live action role playing. It's people who like to put on capes and get foam swords and go out and beat each other up and cast spells, and it's a romp. I haven't done it myself, but I've seen it done, and it looks like a hoot and a holler. And but calling somebody a LARPer is basically implying that you're fake. You just want to be fake. And let me ask you this, folks. Let me ask you this. Who is more of a LARPer? Somebody like me, who admittedly, I am not involved in an organization or a party, but I try to make videos from a principled Maoist point of view to serve as educational content and supplementary content. Or someone who is the head of a literal cult of personality who flies the red, white, and blue flag besides the flag of the Soviet Union, and who plays the Internationale alongside the Star-Spangled Banner, and masquerades and wears a suit and poses as this leader of the proletarian movement in the United States. Who is more of a LARPer there? Seriously. I mean, y'all are smart people, and I trust you to figure out who is more of a LARPer in that scenario. At least I don't fancy myself the next Lenin. Also, going into this, naming an entire tendency after my personal viewpoints. This is something that Haas does. He calls himself a mecha tankie. And I'm being absolutely serious. It doesn't stop me from being dumbfounded at how stupid the term is, but they call themselves mecha tankies. Like, are you kidding me? Okay, so I know I'm this guy who has a Donkey Kong avatar, and so that's an insult that we'll get into in a minute. But I mean, seriously, Jesus Christ, calling yourself a mecha tanky and saying we need to uphold mecha tankyism, that's just rough, dude. That is rough. And so, you know, these are the people calling you a LARPer on the internet. People who call themselves mecha tankies. Moving right along, the next, another hallmark of the Patsocs, especially the debate bro Patsocs, like Haas, a debate challenge. Tankie, debate me, debate me, debate me. If you don't debate me, you're a coward. If you don't debate me, you're a beta male. You're a cuck. You're a Soyboy. This is, it's hilarious. Like, these folks want to have a debate, and I retort that response in my video that's going to come out Sunday with the simple question of why. What good would it possibly serve to debate people who behave in such bad faith, who descend rapidly into petty 5-year-old insults that belong on a kindergarten playground and not in a reasonable, principled discussion? And so, what possible good could it serve to debate these individuals? What possible good could it do except to further stroke their already massive egos so that they can clip quotes out of context and use all sorts of debate bro sophistry to dunk on me and get more likes and subscribers and appeal more to their brain dead fans? There is absolutely no purpose in debating these individuals, because to debate them implies that their ideas are actually something worth considering. Their ideas are actually something worth contending with. And, you know, just keeping it perfectly honest here, folks, I do not debate fascists on this channel or in real life. I don't debate them. Their ideas are worthless. They're not worth considering. They are only worth addressing only insofar as you need to debunk them. You need to stop people from going down that road and pursuing those ideas, pursuing LaRoucheism, pursuing reactionary populism. And so that is the only reason why I make videos like this at all. That is the only reason why any principled Marxist should concern themselves with Maupin and the CPI and Haas in any capacity. I wish that no one knew who these people were so that I wouldn't have to make videos addressing them. But unfortunately, people know who they are. They are out there, they are vocal, and they have a large audience. An audience much larger than mine. And so unfortunately, this necessitates a response from principled Marxists. And so that response is not going to come in the form of a debate. That response is going to come in the form of a scathing video that will hopefully serve as the end-all be-all of this issue. And that in the future, if people want to learn why patriotic socialism sucks so much, they could just refer back to my video. And so we can all stop, you know, going back and forth and engaging with these individuals on the internet, because they do not engage in good faith in any way whatsoever. Which is why, in short, I will not be debating any of them. And they can call me a coward all they want. They can call me a little bitch boy. But guess what? I don't care. I really don't care. Like, go ahead. Call me a coward. Call me a soy boy. I don't care. You have no power here. You have absolutely no power here. It's not going to faze me at all. What, you think that I am so worried about what the infrared community thinks about me? You think I'm so worried about what CPI thinks about me? Oh no! They think I'm a coward! Now I have to debate them and discuss the validity of LaRoucheism. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. So, moving on, and I sort of teased this one, making fun of my avatar. This is usually people's like knee-jerk reaction. Oh, you have a Donkey Kong avatar, so I'm just gonna disregard everything you said. Disregarded. You're a LARPer because you have a Donkey Kong avatar. All right, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's the internet. People have avatars. That's a thing. Once again, you're not going to see me show my face on here because I don't give a shit about promoting my own personal fame. I'm not out there to seek fame and fortune. I don't care if anybody knows who I am. I don't want people to actually know who I am. Okay? You heard it here first, folks. I do not want to be known as Tankie King, the leader of the Marxist-Leninist Maoist movement. I'm not out there to chase clout. I'm not out there to promote myself. And so I honestly don't care. I could have an avatar. My avatar could be Ned Flanders. My avatar could be the Swedish chef. My avatar could be fucking Elmo. It doesn't matter. Like, whether it's Donkey Kong or Mario or anybody else, anything else. My arguments should be rebuked or supported based on the validity of those arguments. They should be considered based on the logic, based on the reasoning, not based on whether or not I have a Donkey Kong avatar or I wear a suit. Caleb Maupin, Maupin, I know that you think that everybody is supposed to shop at the Burlington Coat Factory and wear a suit and have their hair slicked back and look like a fucking vacuum salesman who goes door to door. I know that you think you adopt this like fucking elitist bourgeois attitude that you're not a real Marxist unless you're wearing a suit. And I know that you were probably born wearing a suit and you probably go to sleep in your suit every single night, but that's not me. And it doesn't have to be me. Get rid of this classist assumption that you have to wear a suit in order to present yourself as a valid Marxist. Stop trying to gatekeep the movement behind the Burlington Coat Factory. Bourgeois prick. So anyway, getting into the last... oh man, somebody said we should call the debate Tankie versus Spanky. That would be a perfect name. Credit to Jess L for that for that comment. That would... Oh my god, that would be the perfect name of that stream. Oh, I'm not gonna get into the whole spanking thing right now. Look, here's the thing. This is all I'll say about it. Everybody's got their proclivities. I'll just leave it at that. And I don't judge them for that. Okay? As long as it's not like something really screwed up, like, something that will land you in jail, something that will hurt innocent people. I don't care. I don't care if you like to be spanked or whatever. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm here on this channel. As hilarious as it is low-hanging fruit to mock somebody for their, preferences or proclivities, I should say. It's not to say it's not funny, but still. I go after Maupin, so I do make one spanking joke in the video, but I do it as tastefully as I possibly can. I couldn't help myself. I had to do at least one joke, and I did it very briefly, and I left it at that. So if y'all want to go find the context for that, if you want to discover that little pile of gold for yourself, just go right ahead. There's sources out there who discuss this issue. I'm not going to further fuel the flames. Maupin himself addressed the issue in a video that I will leave in the description of my video on Sunday. But anyway, moving forward into the last argument, ratio. This is this is something that Haas likes to do often. He likes to send his goons onto your video feed or onto your thread or whatever you're doing, because he lives on the internet and he is going to ratio you. He's going to mass downvote you. Because once again, this is a person, a man-child, who places stock in internet points. So, and this is to address all the Infrared fans. If you want to ratio me, go right ahead. Downvote this video. Send me a sternly worded comment in the comment section calling me a soy boy. Once again, you are only proving my point. you are only further proving my point that all you guys care about are your little internet points. You, you don't care about capitalism. You certainly don't care about communism or Marxism. All you care about is your precious little internet points. I really don't care. You have no power here. You have no sway here. It is not going to faze me at all if my video gets ratioed. That is not going to... It's not like I'm going to lie awake at night and be like, oh God, Haas ratioed me. I guess I got owned. I guess it's time for me to take my whole channel down. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, ratio me. I don't care. It's so sad. It is so sad. Bless their little hearts. Caleb Maupin, bless his heart. Infrared, bless his little heart. Jackson Hinkle, bless his heart. Yankee Tankie, you really need to bless his heart. Poor guy. I feel sorry for these people. On a certain level, I feel sorry for them. I really, really do. And I feel really sorry for the people who look up to them. Because I just have to wonder, like, what happened to them? What made them this way? So, anyway, I'll get rid of the bingo card now. And I want to show this amazing image that I compiled about a year ago. I tried to call out Maupin and his capitulation to Nazbull's and his embrasure of reactionary thought in a very principled way. And unfortunately, Daddy Maupin did not take it very well at all. He had himself a Burger King meltdown, ladies and gentlemen, of epic proportions. And this entire collage that I have assembled are all of the tweets that he left me in a single day's time. This is a 24-hour period. This is coming from the guy who says that he is a principled communist, that, I go out of the movement and into the masses, and I'm the leader of the communist movement in the United States, and I'm very super serious, and I wear suits, and so take me seriously. This is the guy. I mean, this is like 50 or so tweets of him just coming at me with all sorts of bad faith arguments, all sorts of straw mans. And this is how he responds. This is how he reacts to criticism. He doesn't take a step back and evaluate himself. There's no such thing as criticism or self-criticism when you are a debate bro. When you are only interested in gaining fame and gaining recognition. There's no such thing as self-criticism. Because, he is completely defensive. He's rapidly descending into straw man. He's calling me like a fed, he's calling me a racist even. Of course he's defaulting in ultra, all that kind of stuff. And it's like none of this is substantiated in any way whatsoever. None of it is substantiated at all. And he even encourages his audience of idiots, his gaggle of morons that consists of the CPI and the Patsoc community, to downvote me and to report me and to cancel me. And ironically, this is one of the things that Maupin bitches about the most. He says that the Breadtube mob is trying to cancel me. It's like he does the exact same thing. The exact same thing. I'm not telling people to go out there and unsubscribe to Maupin, but he is right about one thing. I am a degrowther. I am a degrowther in regards to I would like to see his subscriber count and his support base degrown. That is how I am a degrowther. And so Maupin, I'll take the thing down now, but I mean, goodness gracious me, folks. Bless his little pea-picking heart. I don't understand. This is the guy who says that, like, I should be disregarded because I have a Donkey Kong avatar and I live on the internet. But it's like he within a 24-hour time period, posted like 50 or some odd tweets against me. It's just craziness. It's absolute craziness. So let's see. We are coming to the conclusion of the stream here. We got about 10 more minutes. I wanted this to run for about an hour, and I feel like it's gone pretty well. It's been pretty entertaining so far. I've gotten entertained by it. So we'll go over some comments here, and let me try to find a juicy one. Gus Bus says, Patsocs are irrelevant now. I really wish that was true. I really, really do. And I called this out about a year ago when I first started seeing this tendency really emerge and start to fester. I said, look, these patriotic socialists, they're going to undergo a metamorphosis. And they are going to start off calling themselves patriotic socialists. And then they're going to call themselves proletarian patriots. And then you see them, they start calling themselves conservative Marxist-Leninists. Now, they've completely gone mask off and they've started calling themselves MAGA communists. You know, unironically calling themselves MAGA communists. And recently they had a quote-unquote anti-imperialist rally. It was really more of a campus rally where they shilled for Russia. And it was the Rage Against the War Machine rally. And guess who was at that rally, ladies and gentlemen? None other than Matthew Heimbach and Richard Spencer. And if you don't know who those guys are, they are literal neo-Nazis. You know, I am not using that term arbitrarily. They are neo-Nazis. They are neo-Confederates. And guess what they were calling themselves? They were calling themselves patriotic socialists. And guess what else? They had a merch table at a CPI conference that happened after that rally. So, anybody who tries to say that Caleb Maupin is not fostering a red-brown alliance, anybody out there who says that Caleb Maupin is not working with fascists or supporting fascists, that disproves them right then and there. He's literally letting them set up merch tables at his conferences. So, you know, I wish that they weren't relevant, Gus Bus, but unfortunately they are. Unfortunately they are out there. Let's see. What else? Exiton Bledsoe says, Yankee Tankie sounds like they would be based. Too bad. I will admit, the name is catchy. But, if you don't believe me, just go to his channel and check it out. If you want to see what a shitpost personified looks like, look no further than the Yankee Tankie. You know, I said earlier, bless his heart, and I truly mean that. You know, I feel bad for him. I hope that he makes a friend. He looks and sounds like he really does need a friend. It's, you know, I genuinely do wish no ill will towards these people. You know, I don't wish any ill will towards Maupin. You know, I don't wish any ill will towards Haas or towards Yankee Tankie or maybe a little bit Jackson Hinkle, but you know, all that I would wish is that they would probably get like a really bad case of diarrhea or something like that. I don't want to see any harm come to them. I just want them to go away. Or better yet, I want them to criticize themselves. I want them to do some self-crit. And I want them to learn and reevaluate their lives and reevaluate their stances and maybe actually come to adopt principled Marxism. Preferably, you know, if I can dream Maoism, but I'm not going to see that happen. And honestly, it's probably just best if they go away. That is my solemn wish. Beardington says, it's hilarious that the entire concept of alpha and beta in wolves has been disproven, as they mistook the female wolves for alphas. So that alone sort of proves that this sort of incel conception of alpha and beta is embarrassingly inaccurate and actually says the exact opposite of what they are trying to imply. Shannon Shinovich says, it's depressing how easy you've shat on their entire repertoire. It's further evidence of their lack of any substance. I mean, that's true. Thank you very much for that. I hope that I've done a good job. My video when it drops Sunday is going to go way further than that. I mean, this is just surface level analysis right here. Let's see. YouTubed L account says Maupin thinks Breadtube is an organized cabal that wants to assassinate him. Lol. An organized cabal, like, you know, this is the sort of tendency that I pointed out with Maupin, is that he always defaults to this sort of conspiratorial attitude that all of his critics are part of, like, the George Soros Congress for Cultural Freedom funded, like, federal plot to discredit him. And here's the thing, here's the really sad thing about Maupin, is that you don't need anarchists to discredit Maupin. Maupin discredits himself. The CPI discredit themselves every single time they open their mouths and say some more stupid crap. They are discrediting themselves. Anytime that Maupin retweets some LaRoucheist crap, he is discrediting himself. And so you don't need anarchists to point that out. You don't need Breadtube to point that out. You don't even need me to point that out. I'm happy to do it. But the funny thing about Maupin is that he discredits himself. He's shadowboxing, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. What are some more funny comments? Oh, yeah. Just to point out, people could probably make a bingo chart about me as well, especially what I'm going to say about Maupin. You can say that I call him a revisionist, I call him a Nazbol, I call him a fascist. Go ahead, Patsocs, who are watching this. Make your little bingo charts. Go ahead, do it. We can play a competitive bingo game together. But guess what? Here's the thing. My criticisms of Maupin are substantiated. My criticisms of patriotic socialism are substantiated. So you can play your little bingo game, but the difference is that your criticisms of me are completely dim-witted and unsubstantiated, and my criticisms of you are entirely substantiated, as you will soon see in my Sunday video. Get ready for the stern talking to of a lifetime. Get ready for things to get real. Let's see. More funny comments. We're about to wrap up the stream here, but I just want to get to everybody's words here. Thank you all for your comments, by the way. Jess L says, any word on what's happening with the Crimson Flag podcast? Is it going to continue or has it wrapped up? I will need to get in touch with FVK regarding the Crimson Flag podcast. I've been out of touch with him recently, but I am going to try to get that back up and going. Let's see. Any more comments here? Bear with me. Jenny Penny says, I swear, patriotic socialism is an FBI psyop. It wouldn't surprise me. I think that Lyndon LaRouche is almost certainly a Fed. And so that pretty much signifies that anyone out there who is promoting LaRoucheism is either doing Fed work, and is a Fed themselves, or just a useful idiot for the government. And so, people who are going to say that the entire Patsoc grift, everybody involved in it is a Fed, I don't think that's true. I think that there are just a lot of useful idiots out there. And unfortunately, they get suckered into it and misled into it. So, anyway, that about does it for this stream. Wow, we went on for about an hour. Thank you, everybody, for continuing to bear with me and to watch this. Tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming with Comrade Marxism Today, otherwise known as Comrade Paul, and he and I are going to have a great discussion on Maoism and on Ireland. We're going to be talking about his development into Maoism, and so I hope everybody tunes in to that tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. In a little bit, actually I think already my latest Essentials of Maoism episode went live. It's episode 3.1. It's talking about Maoism clarified. Over the next few days, I'm going to have the episode on revisionism come out. And then on Sunday, it's the big enchilada. I'm going to have the Patsoc video finally drop. And so this was just a preamble to it. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will catch you next time. Dinky King outs.